Confidence is not about how you feel. Confidence is evidence that you stack about yourself. Now, most people don't misunderstand how to act confident. So, in this video, I'm going to talk about common misconceptions about confidence, and in the process, hopefully help you redefine what confidence is, and maybe it'll help you to rethink the way you approach certain situations with confidence. Let's get started. So, in thinking about confidence, you might be reminded of the saying, fake it till you make it. What this saying basically entails is acting like you know what you're doing, acting confident until it becomes internalized into who you are or what you're doing. Now, this may work for you for a certain amount of time, but there's a big issue with this line of thinking. The issue with this line of thinking is that it doesn't actually help you to build a solid foundation. Fake it till you make it is basically saying that you should act a certain way until people start to recognize you for it or until you start to believe it yourself. Think about the consequences of your actions, though, if you're faking something instead of actually doing it the way you should be. When it comes to confidence, it should not just be only viewed as a feeling, it should be viewed as something that is created in action, something that is repeated over and over again. It is only through doing this action over and over again that you can show yourself that you are capable of this certain action, and then you start to build the confidence on a solid foundation. So, this leads me to the first misconception, which is that confidence comes before action. When you think about it in the context of you need to do the action and then repeat it over and over again, then it makes perfect sense that confidence doesn't come until after the action. You can't pretend to have this feeling. You can't embody this feeling without having actually going through the experience. What it comes down to is you need to experiment, you need to fail, you need to try the action over and over again, and then show yourself that you are growing from that experience and from doing the action. So, with that logic in mind, confidence comes after the action, not before. Here's an example for you, a very fitting example. If you're deciding that you want to surf and you walk out to the beach with your head held high, you have a brand new shiny board, and you're feeling very confident that you're going to do well, you're going to carve, you're going to do aerials, you're going to do all these crazy things that you see on TV and pro surfers doing, you're going to fail miserably, especially if you haven't practiced or done any action beforehand. You could pretend, you could look like you know what you're doing, but until you actually put in the reps, you fail, you learn from those mistakes, and then you actually see yourself get better over time, then you won't be able to build that confidence. It will only be surface level and it will always be shaky internally, which is what you don't want when you're trying to build confidence. The second misconception about confidence is that it equates to no fear or doubt. Now, it's actually quite the opposite. Confident people do still have fear and doubt, but it's their capability of sitting with those feelings and dealing with those feelings that sets them apart from people who actually aren't confident. By being confident, you don't simply erase these feelings. These are natural human feelings. And when you're going through an action that is new to you or uncomfortable or taps into inner fears, you're going to inevitably feel these feelings of doubt and limiting beliefs. But it's one's capacity to deal with those beliefs and to still push forward that really separates confident versus unconfident people. So, as you can see here, confidence has more to do with the action than the feeling. Let's go back to the surfing example. If someone walks into the ocean and they're ready to surf, but they're pretending to be confident, there's a greater chance that this fear or this doubt or these limiting beliefs that they have will end their session early, result in them getting hurt, or just not get them to where they want to be. But if there's someone who recognizes that they're not confident and they're willing to sit with these feelings of fear and doubt, and then they go out, they're willing to experiment, to fail, to wipe out as many times as possible, but to learn from those experiences, those small experiences are going to build confidence over time until they actually get better, and then they can walk around and have a solid foundation built on experience and action. So remember that next time you do something for the first time. Just because someone is good at it or someone seems confident at it doesn't mean they don't have fear or self doubt. They have the same fear and doubt as you do, but they're willing to sit with those feelings and push past those feelings so that they can get to the point of confidence. Yet another misconception about confidence is that it comes from external validation. This one's a little tricky and one that you should beware about. You can get validation from work, from family, from friends, and all of that praise will feel good and can actually help you to feel confident. But keep in mind that those things are temporary. You don't want to build your confidence on shaky ground and temporary feelings. Once again, your confidence should stem from your internal, from building a solid foundation that is based on experience and your own trial and error and your own growth and experiences. This is the issue with seeking validation from others versus seeking validation from yourself. If you're seeking validation from others, what happens when that validation changes or you don't get it when you want or it doesn't hit the right places inside? Those things can help every once in a while. If you get a raise at a job, or if a friend says a positive thing to you, those things do help you and to make you feel good, but those things won't always be there and they're shaky. However, on the flip side, if you're pushing yourself beyond your limits and your comfort zone, and you're doing things over and over again and showing yourself that you're willing to make the mistakes, you're showing yourself that you are a person that follows through, you're showing yourself that you're a person that can keep their word to themselves, those things are ways to build a solid foundation of confidence internally. Those are things that you can rely on and things that will help you when things don't go your way. The last misconception about confidence that I'm going to share with you today is that confidence is permanent. Now, this is kind of the beauty of confidence. It's a cycle. And if you constantly go through this cycle, you actually build more confidence over time. And it serves to build an even stronger internal foundation. Pay attention to this new point, which will solidify this misconception. When you put yourself in a new environment, your confidence level drops. When you're trying out a new skill, your confidence resets. Let me explain that one with an example. Let me give you a personal example. So I'm a teacher by profession, and I've taught in various countries, Mexico, Spain, Indonesia, and I'd been teaching for about 8 years when I decided to move to Brazil, changing my environment. When I came to Brazil, even though I had 8 years of experience under my belt, I still felt nervous. My confidence level had dropped because it was a new curriculum, it was a new school, different students, different cultural context, so many different things. And I felt that and had to work through that fear and that doubt simply by teaching in Brazil over and over and over again. And at this point, after almost 2 years, I feel confident teaching in this country. Regarding a new skill, the other day I tried my first lesson kite surfing. I have a lot of experience in the ocean, surfing, scuba diving. I'm very comfortable in the water, but this was a sport and a skill that I had never done before. And I remember looking at the kite and all the strings and trying to set everything up and just thinking to myself, what the hell is all of this? I had no clue what was going on. And that was a sign that my confidence had reset. So this is to drive home the point that confidence is not a permanent feeling. And one great way to build your confidence in general as a person is to constantly put yourself in uncomfortable situations, go through that cycle of being a beginner, being uncomfortable, then feeling confident, and then resetting that confidence so that over time you shape your identity as someone who's just capable, someone who can figure something out, and someone who's willing to stack evidence that they are a confident person. So that brings me to my final point. Confidence is not how you feel about yourself. Confidence is evidence that you stack about yourself. You need to be able to do something over and over again, go through trial and error, make mistakes, experiment, and go through the process of becoming familiar in something. That is how you build true confidence. It's not anchored to other people, it's anchored to your own beliefs, it's anchored to your own capabilities and your own growth, that internal foundation. Think about this the next time you try a new skill, or you find yourself in a new environment, or you're a little uncomfortable about doing something. Confidence is a feeling, yes, but it is directly tied to the actions you take and the evidence that you're collecting about yourself. Thank you for watching my video. Check out one of these other videos I made about habits, and I'll see you guys in next week's video. Bye.